Welcome to part 2 of the PowerPoint Project 1 that we're doing about the Going Green slideshow. If you have, I sound like a directory assistance number, if you have reached this recording in error, in other words, if you have not done part 1, you need to close this video and go to the part 1 part of this presentation. This takes us where I left off in the previous video, where we had taken a slideshow that we're creating called Saving Energy, and we have so far exactly one slide called It Is Easy Being Green. This is the final product that you would see in the front of the chapter, but instead of using this one, we'll use the one that is in progress. I'll close this one and go back to where my original one happens to be, and there it is. And we've done the first slide. I'm starting with page 14 of the PowerPoint book, and we're going to add a second slide to this particular presentation. So if I go to the bottom of page 14, I'll click Home on the ribbon at the top of the screen. Mine's already clicked. And notice carefully here, we're going to click the new slide. If you click the new slide button, you automatically get a slide. You can also use the arrow and have some choices here as to what kind of template slide you want. By clicking the new slide button, I've got this. And again, if you ever make a mistake, you can go to the top of the screen and get that little crooked blue arrow that says Undo, and it will take you backwards, as many steps as necessary. Here's my second slide for right now. And notice I've got a little miniature list over on the left-hand side, so you can move back and forth between slides very easily by clicking on that little miniature list. In any event, we'll take this slideshow that is a different kind of design. Slide that is here, and I'll go ahead and we're going to use this kind of slide that has a bulleted list with it. We went through bullets in the Word Chapter 1 video previously. If I go to page 16 of the book and click on this title, remember from the last video that the text will be replaced. And we'll type in, according to page 16, the sentence or the phrase, make small changes to cut energy. And if you do, unlike I did a minute ago, if you use the caps button, it will make your text just a little bit larger. So I'm going to backspace and just correct these mistakes. You can use the backspace and the arrow and the delete keys to make these changes as you need to, speaking of small changes. And there's my first part of my text. Now I'll go into the text placeholder, which is the next text box where it says click to add text, and I'll click on that one. I've got an orange bullet there. The reason it's orange is because of the slide design, this orange slide design that we chose earlier in the previous video on a previous page in the book. On page 17, for the first bulleted item, I'll type in the phrase install low flow faucets and shower, and I misspelled faucets, I'm glad I did that, and shower heads. If you misspell a word, you can simply right click where it's got the red squiggly line and it will give you a replacement word, or you can just simply backspace, delete, and retype it as necessary. Go ahead and hit the enter key according to the directions, and in red circle number 2 on page 17 we've got the next bullet. And if we want to do any kind of indenting, we have some buttons at the top center of the ribbon right below the word view. There's one that says increase indent and one that says decrease indent. The same thing would occur if you use the tab key on the keyboard, but if you hit the arrow, the bullet will indent very slightly because this makes it kind of a subheading or sublist under the one that says low flow faucets and shower heads. So we'll type right here in step 3 the phrase cut water consumption in half. Enter that. We'll continue with this list on page 18. I'm now on the next line. And so that this bullet does not go in the same level as cut water consumption, in order to go backwards, I can either hold down the shift key and choose tab, or I can use the button up here in the ribbon that says decrease list level. That will take me back to the first level, the bigger bullet. And we'll type the remaining text in here according to the middle of page 18. The first part is going to be appliances count for 20%. I'm trying to do this and look at my book at the same time and talk, and that's not easy for me. And when we press enter, notice whether it says to increase or decrease the list level. If you make a mistake with that, you can always change it. That is not a problem if you make a mistake accidentally. So I'm clicking the increase list, and we're going to have the phrase by Energy Star qualified products. Hit enter. Keeping that same level, we'll do run dishwasher. Again, typing the text that's in the middle of page 18. Close washer. With full loads. When I hit enter, I'm going to click the increase list button or shift tab if you want the keyboard. In fact, I should have done increase instead of decrease. I'm going to go a third level this time so it indents even further. And we got a phrase that says wash clothes in cold water. Alright, and you can hit enter there if you want to. It says not to. Wouldn't really hurt if you did technically. It's okay. What will happen is it would just give you an extra bullet if you did that, and you can always backspace your way out. So be careful right off the bat that your levels are exactly as they should be. Look at the book and look at my screen also to make sure that you've got the indented bullets properly. If you make a mistake, you can always click on it and you can increase or decrease the tab as necessary. That's easy to fix. And check your spelling as well. Now we're going to do some changes to these words. We'll select a group of words on page 19, and the words we'll select are the words in the second phrase, which says in half. So I'll select these with my mouse. You can drag across them or double click as you need to. And we're now going to go to the next page, page 20, and we're going to bold these words by just clicking the B button up in the Home tab. So that will make those words bolded. Keeping those words still selected, we're going to increase the font size. And you can do that by clicking a number, but what you can do in PowerPoint and in Word for that matter, the very large A next to the 21, if you keep clicking that, the font size will get larger and larger and larger. You only want to do that once, but I'm just proving the point right here, whoops, so that you can see what happens. You can also decrease it as necessary. So we're going to make that where it ends up being 24 actually. Alright, that takes care of the second slide. We'll go now to a third slide. So what we're going to do now is make sure you're on the Home tab. We're going to do another slide now. And this time we'll choose the new slide arrow so we get a different kind of slide this time. If you click new slide, you're going to get another one like you had previously. I'm going to undo that. But if I click the arrow, I can make additional choices. So on page 22, we're going to click the one that says title only. That's going to look rather barren at first, but we'll take care of this later on in the chapter. If I click in that text, I can type in some new text, and I'm going to type the text at the bottom of page 22 that says use energy efficient lighting. And again, if you misspell a word like I did here, you can always right click and get a replacement for it. We'll go to page 23 now and add a fourth slide. So again, we'll click the arrow. We're going to choose another kind of slide. And in this case, at the bottom of page 23, we'll click one that says comparison. And you'll recognize this when you select it because you'll have two orange sections that say click to add text. What we're going to do at the very top in the title is click on it. And in step 2 of page 23, we'll type the phrase adjust your thermostats. And we won't place enter there. I'll click in the left orange heading to add text, and in that one I'll type in the word furnace. I'm now on page 24, furnace : 68 degrees, and click the one on the orange one on the right, and we'll choose water heater, 120 degrees. And this will take care of the text part of typing. Now before I close this particular part of the video for part 2, I want to mention the different kinds of views you can have on PowerPoint. Right now we're looking at one large slide at a time with the miniature versions over at the side. If you go down to the bottom right hand corner of your screen, if you're new to PowerPoint, by default the selection is called normal view. You can click something called slide sorter. If you click that, I'm at the bottom right hand corner of the screen. You can look at your slides this way, and this is really handy if you want to see several slides at once, more than 3 or 4. I've had as many as a dozen, 15, or 16 there at once, and you can look at the slides, move them around very easily. You can click this third button, which is a reading view, where you can read the slides like this one at a time, and you can use the arrow keys or you can use the page up and down keys on your keyboard to view these. And if you run into and you can also, if you hit the escape key on your keyboard, it will take you back to your original spot. We'll go back to normal, but I wanted to show you those particular views that you have. In the next video, we'll actually be putting in the pictures that are associated with this slideshow. Again, if you have any questions, please check with your instructor or replay the video if you need to.